So like with Shigure's hilarious yet truthful comment about a stabbing spree, I believe it was in episode 1 of season 1, he also warned us about the cliff and how unstable it was. Well, lo and behold, the man was right as per usual. This week's episode of Fruits Basket definitely goes in a brutal direction without it going into what I think a lot of people were assuming, which, based on what I was reading in my own comment section, a lot of people were expecting Akito to full-on stab Kurno style. And while she did definitely slash towards Toru, it went a little more worse than I thought it was going to, without going full-on murder spree. For me personally, I didn't think she would get stabbed or sliced at all. I thought that was the direction. I thought we were going to have Toru talk her down, which she pretty much does, but in doing so, she does end up getting really wounded before that happens. But I like how rather than Akito pushing her off a cliff, which as soon as I saw the cliff, I thought that's what was going to happen. Once again, another shoving moment, she would end up in the hospital, she wouldn't end up dead, but then Akito would realize how much of a fool she's been, and that would be the changing moment. Instead, they definitely played with what I thought, and I think many people thought was going to happen, once with the knife. Oh, she's going to stab her, and then Toru will forgive her, and that will be the change. Anyone who thought, Toru's gonna beat her like a final boss in a video game, no, that's never what this story's been about. It's been about forgiveness and how you overcome and deal with your problems. That's always been the moral of this story. So that's how it would have been handled. Or in the case of the cliff, she pushes her down, and obviously that will be a changing moment. I also thought what could have happened is Akito tried to save her and then she fell with her. They both end up in the hospital. Instead, they went with something that was original for Fruits Basket while staying true to what the story's been through and through. I have been both a very positive and negative voice towards Akito character. However, over 3 seasons, I've had a very steady and consistent thought, which is, whatever happens to you in your past, growing up, it doesn't excuse how you act towards someone in the present, it just explains why you're like that. However, I've always said, Akito is without a doubt one of, if not the best characters in this show. The story could not exist without her, and she's incredibly well written, it's just she infuriates me on more than one occasion. To have an episode where she actually apologizes, where she understands what she's done. While not every character, I'm sure, is going to be able to forgive her or want to be her friend or be associated with her, it's the step in the right direction. A character like Toru was always going to be one of her best friends, and because if you really look at them, been plenty of comments throughout the weeks in my own comment section, Toru and Akito are pretty much one and the same. It's just they took 2 very different paths in the idea of wanting to keep things the same. Akito, who's been treated as a god because literally for the cursed family, she is a god. The god complex, the worshipping, the feeling of like everyone has to be connected to you via this promise, otherwise why would anyone stick around? She was one of the loneliest characters, and that loneliness, mixed with power, caused for a very disrupted person. Toru, someone who lost everything, is a very positive and fake person, and just wanting to keep everything there. So both of them are very similar, even if they took completely different paths. Toru with a selfless and kind of like self-destructive path, harming herself for other sakes, where you have Akito who harms others for her own sake, right? It's just 2 branching paths, but they really are kind of 2 halves of the same puzzle, really. So I think the whole build-up with that was absolutely fantastic, and I'm sure there's going to be, I feel like it's going to be 2 groups of people this week. One, really happy with the direction they took with Akito character, or very mad that Akito didn't end up dead. But then again, I mean, if you've reached this point in this show and you think like murder and like revenge is the moral of the story, I mean, I'm sorry, but you just haven't been watching the right show. Like, that's never been what it's about. And I think the idea of forgiveness, or what you could call power of friendship, it's abused in all sorts of mediums, and from manga to anime to even, general television in the West. But I think the idea of Toru's character, I mean, she's been focusing on every single character other than the source of the problem, which was Akito. And I like how, even in this moment, the most selfless character saying, I never looked at you. And who knows what could have happened? I mean, just rewind. Hindsight's a bitch, right? Hindsight's always going to be 20/20. What could have changed maybe if she did approach her? It's not like Toru's responsible for this, but it is something that she recognizes, like, oh, I've been so focused on all these other people that I haven't even recognized how much you must have been suffering alone. We've literally saw it with the maids. I mean, there's like 2 sections of the maids of the Soma household, one going for the mother and one going for Akito, and they both just feed them bullshit. In a lot of ways, they might be the most toxic of the characters, no joke. So when you have that type of voice always whispering in your ear, when your dying father tells you that you're special and that these promises are everything, your mother treats you like I should have had an abortion, and, slowly but surely all these promises are breaking. It's understandable how a character ended up like that, even if it doesn't excuses the actions and the attempted murder and things like that. Which is why I really like seeing our boy come up here and say, hey, these two characters are idiots, and if it was anyone else, you would be blamed. You'd probably be in jail. So rather than just sitting here crying, why not go see them? Why not, ask for forgiveness? Why not just accept that shit is bad and we need to make it better? And I think that's going to be an interesting thing, because I think a character like Rin would never really want to give Akito the time of day. Maybe they'll write it in a way which, honestly, I kind of hope they don't, but either way, like, different characters will have different opinions on Akito. Some stuck around because of just, you felt bad for the bitch. That's pretty much the way it was. And then other characters, like Hsieh, has wanted a relationship with her for so long, which is why the first person she sees after literally changing and snapping, wanting to help someone, she runs into Hsieh, which is amazing because that's exactly what he's wanted for so long. But in disbelief, he says, "Are you responsible?" No, but I was responsible for hurting Kurino. And the fact that Kurino, even in a hospital bed after getting stabbed in the back, is just saying, like, he's such a good guy. He really, like, there's not a hate bone in his body. That's the best way to put it. And I think it's going to be so interesting because we have 4 episodes left to go of the final season. And I think that's amazing because this moment, to me, I thought we were always going to build up to something like this, but that would be the second to last episode. I never thought it would be, we'd have 4 episodes left of the anime to be able to explore it, which I think is amazing because it's going to really be able to flesh out more with, especially Akito towards Toru's relationship, see where all the other Somas are going to go with them, but most importantly, Kyo and Toru, which, I mean, this is beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. The fact that he literally was leaving, and now he has to wonder, oh my god, she's on her deathbed. I don't get to say my true feelings. That's why that kiss was absolutely fantastic. There's so many romantic and tragic things about Fruits Basket as a story, and I can't believe how well written it's been every single episode. There's not a single episode that I wish was different or that we would have skimmed over. Every character has been memorable, impactful, emotional, makes me mad, makes me happy. There's just so much to it, and I think it's going to be so sweet to see where Toru and Kyo will go, which, best pairing right now, which I've said a couple of times, but still, like, just goes to show that, like, the character chemistry is so good. Toru and Akito, Akito and the Somas, just the epilogue in general, it's so good. There's still a little bit of a bump left to go, but this is the moment, right? I mean, to see it. Sometimes a life-threatening thing is what's really going to change everything, and you'd think Kurino getting stabbed by Akito would be the big moment, but it's nice that Toru, which was always going to happen, is kind of the saving grace, and now she's finally moving on from her mother, saying, I'm never going to forget her, but it's time for me to move on and live my own life and go after the man I love. Even if he doesn't love me back, this is what I want to do. I want to see him happy. And, I mean, we went from our boy about to be locked up in a cage because he's the cat to now having a love life, it feels like. And that's amazing. And honestly, I mean, I don't forget what Akito's done. I don't forgive what Akito's done. But I accept that Akito can move on in a new direction, given that it is a very different situation. And instead of jail time like it would be in the real world, we have the Soma clan and the curse and everything like that. It's kind of like its own punishment in its weird way. And it's up to the characters themselves to determine if they want to be associated with her afterwards. I think characters like Rin and some others may want to just be like, yeah, you know what, that's nice, but I'm going to go live my own life now. Where characters like Kurino, Hsieh, they would want to still be associated with her, just in a different way. It's great, it's amazing, it's incredible, it's Fruits Basket. What else can we expect? Let me know your thoughts and feelings down below. What did you think of the whole Toru Akito situation? Would you wish anything was different, or did you really enjoy it like myself? Whatever you feel, let me know down below. Like if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you're new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.